Hello, everyone, and welcome to the October Mid-Month Outturn preview tasting. I know this looks a little different. You're used to seeing my Zach been with me, but today it's, they were really busy drinking whiskey. They were like, no, it's all going to be you, Jenna. So I was like, oh, I got to come up with, something kind of creative. So I asked a very dear friend of mine to join us. And he is a brilliant, whiskey industry kind of guy. He's very smart. He's taught me so much when it comes to whiskey. So it's going to be really nice to have him here with us, and I'll bring him on in just a few minutes. But I just wanted to touch base real quick on the Outturn tomorrow. So tomorrow the Outturn will go live at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll be releasing the full details of the full Outturn today during the tasting. So stay tuned for that. And so I guess we can kind of get this party started. I'll say hello to everyone. Hi, Dale. Hello, Eugene. Hello, Pickly Doo from DC. I just love saying that name, Pickly Doo. Christine, hello, dear. It's good to see you all here. So, all right. So I'm going to introduce our amazing guest. Again, he is a very dear friend. We've had the pleasure of, attending whiskey shows together and talking about whiskey and, judging whiskey competitions and just kind of, being able to talk about the spirit that we love so much all the time. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Koray. He is not only a member of the society, but he has a brilliant whiskey blog called Whiskey Monster, and I'm sure some of you will recognize him instantly. He's a pretty big deal in the whiskey industry. So Koray, hello.
Hey, hello.
How are you?
Thanks for the kind words. I'm fine. It's a long day today. So.
Well, it's only Monday, so we'll take a break and drink some whiskey.
Yeah, I started talking whiskey really early today, and it's gonna go all day. But this was a part that I was looking forward to, actually, and it's really nice to see your face.
It's nice to see you too. I know I'm so sad. Usually you and I, even though you're in San Francisco and I'm here in LA, we see each other quite often.
Yeah. First of all, I love to come to LA. That's one thing. And I remember the last time we met. Actually, it was in Oakland, right?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
You took me out on kind of this really awesome time in Oakland and showed me around some distilleries and some great places to eat, and that was so much fun. And I'm sad that
we'll have that again. I believe that 2021 is going to be so much better than this year.
Yes, I'm gonna jump on that train and just put the good vibes out there. I'm looking forward to getting back and going to whiskey shows and talking whiskey with people and, seeing yourself and so many colleagues.
Traveling for whiskey, like that's one of the reasons why we started being in this industry, right? Because, going to Scotland, coming back, or visiting distilleries, seeing friends at the shows, that was the best part of our lives until now. Now it's totally different. Like, at least twice a day, I'm looking at this camera, talking to people.
I know.
And it will be nice to do in-person events again. But, this taught us something different. Another thing that we can actually do, another thing that can help us with spreading the word of whiskey.
Yes, and we're lucky that we even have, technology to do that. So not all is lost. So will you just kind of fill everyone in on, Whiskey Monster and what you do and, kind of give us all the deets.
So for the ones who don't know me yet, I'm Koray Özdemir. So my name comes from Turkey, so I'm Turkish. And I moved to the States in 2017, but way before that I was actually working in the whiskey business in Turkey, spreading the word of whiskey in Turkey, helping brands out there and writing about it most importantly. Then I moved to the United States and I directly came to San Francisco. And I was a spirit spy for a year and a half. And I was still doing my Whiskey Monster blog at the time. Then I met someone incredible from India, Mr. Paul John, the chairman of Paul John Whiskies, and he offered me the job to be their brand ambassador and the brand manager on the West Coast. So currently I am doing that and whiskeymonster.com together. So it's really fun. I'm really having a wonderful journey like around the world. I had so much chance to try a lot of whiskeys from the world. So I'm trying to just, not to spread my own whiskey, but I'm trying to give you my knowledge about everything I know about whiskey. And because I think that people has the right to know what they're drinking and has the right to understand what they're drinking. Yeah, that's why I started this journey. And right now, I'm having a fabulous time writing on Whiskey Monster since I have more time, since I'm not traveling that much, so I can put more work on it. And at the same time, this is the October, November, December season, which is really important in whiskey business.
Season.
We release a lot of whiskeys, and at the same time I'm tasting a lot of whiskeys, and I'm also working on releasing some new whiskeys for the brand. So this is a busy time, but I really love it. Like, this is my favorite season.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice that, I call it whiskey season, just because it is just full-fledged, just whiskey talk, whiskey releases. And it's when, at least here at the Society, we start releasing some really awesome, really fun cask, later in the year. So I'm
just going to add something here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
On the comment, Sunday Evening Scotch said that we met in Louisville, Kentucky at Haymarket Whiskey Bar, and I remember that moment. So this is why I'm doing the business. It's so much fun.
Yeah, we have some people in the comments that I'm sure we've poured for, at shows or, talked whiskey with at some point in time. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's always a treat to have you all here. So so today what we're going to do is we're going to taste through our entire October Mid-Month Outturn. And we have 5 different whiskeys to taste today. So I think that's a good little lunch break, if you will. And we'd love to get your thoughts on it, and I'll share mine. And yeah, so
well put. Sample is almost.
All right. So, are you ready for the first one?
Yes. So I haven't tasted anything yet.
I have not either.
I haven't either. Knows it. But actually, I have some information, so we can go with that.
So yeah, what we'll do is we'll kick off the first one, and yeah, we'll just take it from there.
Yeah.
So
26.135.
Yeah. So the first one we're going to be tasting is Cask 26.135. It is called Delicate, Delightful, Delicious. It is an 8-year Highland from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, and this is at 59.7%. So light, I'm not sure, but this one comes at 115. And this is in our light and delicate flavor profile. So I'm always kind of shocked by this flavor profile because I find that even though they're in the light and delicate flavor profile, they are quite robust and, very lively. So I'm going to give this a quick pour.
This is coming actually from one of my favorite numbers in Society. 26 is a good number.
It is. I agree. I know we have a lot of members out there like yourself who are a big fan of 26, and I know we released one a 26 for our regular October Outturn, our big Outturn, and that was 26.136, which was also an 8-year in the juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile. So
what does the barrel on that?
Barrel on that. This one is second fill ex bourbon, and this one is first fill. So hopefully we'll see a little more cask influence.
You can see the cask influence easily. The first 2 things you feel, I feel, is lemon zest and coconut. So that's technically what's happening with the first fill barrel in the first few years.
That lemon zest, I get like a lemon, a lemon pound cake, like an iced lemon pound cake. I always think of when I get that kind of lemon profile on the nose.
So the young version of the 8 years we can call as a young whiskey for this distillery. So they are generally vibrant and gives you a lot of the spring and Speyside profile really, really, really well.
Yeah, it smells classic.
Yeah. But at the same time, I feel some dryness.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, I'm giving it a taste. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, okay. So, what we usually feel with this whiskey in there, OG's, original bottlings, or a little bit older bottles, is a bit more oily and thick profile. I don't feel it. I feel this is a little bit on the thinner side.
Yeah,
However, it explodes at the very back with a lot of fruity notes.
I agree. And I'm actually getting a little bit of that dryness on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
I find this to be more malt forward. There's definitely a big maltiness to this whiskey. And
You know, this gives me that dryness that turns out to be juicy at the very end. So
Yeah.
on the finish, it's just makes it longer. It makes you want to drink more and more. Even though it's 59.78% ABV, it doesn't feel like.
no, it doesn't. This definitely drinks a lot lighter.
That's like springing your glass, technically.
Yeah, that's a
Like-
great way to describe that.
Because it has a dryness, it has a header notes, it has floral notes at the same time, giving you all that lemon and coconut, a little bit of toasted oak. I love toasted oak, by the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that like lemon floral, like eating lemon pound cake outside when like all the flowers have just bloomed, and it's definitely I find this to be more floral than anything actually. I'm getting a lot of those notes on the palate.
Like this is how can I put it this way? So we are getting into a little bit on the wintry side. Not in California. It's like it was still 100 degrees somehow this weekend. But you know, as the weather cools down a little bit, this will be a great whiskey to serve, especially at the patio. And you know, it's light, it's easy, it gives you all that floral notes. It doesn't freak you out with the ABV because it's actually really soft.
Yeah, it really is. This is like a good kind of wet your palate kind of whiskey. Yeah, that's a good one. So again, that's 26.135, delicate, delightful, delicious. And the tasting notes on this say notes of honey over a lemon drizzle cake. Water added nuances like a floral arrangement and orange chocolate baked Alaska. So I think we're pretty spot on. Lemon, floral.
Yeah.
It's all here.
I just don't know the Alaska dessert, but
Yeah,
Alaska
I don't think
desserts,
I've ever had a baked Alaska.
that's
Is that
good.
Jell-O? Is that like
I
the
have no
Jell-O
idea.
thing?
If anybody knows about it, please write it down, guys. We have no idea about it.
Fill us in. And I'm like a dessert person, but I don't think I've ever had a baked Alaska.
So I added some water on it.
How has it changed with water?
More citrus.
More citrus.
Yeah. Actually, like orangey, I can say.
Like candied orange.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty lovely. Like it's a really light whiskey. Yeah. It's a good conversation starter for good tasting.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good way to wet your palate and to kind of, you know, kickstart all of those palate muscles.
But that's definitely not your like hard to digest whiskey from the same distillery. We have some of those, but this is definitely not like that. This is a lighter, vibrant, and I can say having everything it needs to have for the region.
I agree. I think that's spot on. So, how many? I know you've been a member of the society for quite some time. Have you kind of tasted through quite a few of these 26s?
I actually did with the older bottlings. When I was back in Europe, I had a lot of them. Yeah, because in Europe, some good part of that is when you travel in Europe, you can find some partner bars, and they have like lines of bottles you can try. So that was one. And when I went to Edinburgh, I had some chance to try it there. I actually am shocked that I haven't tried any in the time that I was in States. So that's something I should buy maybe.
Well, there we go. We just changed that. So
yeah, but there are some like really good 26s. 29 is a lot of people's favorite as well as mine.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this guy at the way.
Is that barbecue and fishnet?
Yes.
I finished that so quickly.
Having sip by sip, yeah.
Yeah, that did not last very long in this house.
But there's one more bottle actually, which is the Red Diesel.
Oh, see, I didn't get that one.
So the barbecue fishness is 93,114. This is 93,106. Same age. Export again. So if you have the opportunity to taste this is a good one.
Yeah, I heard that one. I've heard from quite a few members that was kind of a fan favorite. But we have been informed on what baked Alaska is, so we can put this to rest.
Ice creams.
Expensive cake and ice cream.
That's good. Also known as omelette Norwegian.
Omelet surprise.
Omelet surprise. That's
wow.
Okay.
All right.
We have to try it now.
I'm gonna have to get one of. I'm gonna have to attempt to make one of those. So it sounds difficult, but I'm up for the challenge.
Currently, there are a lot of cakes going on in the whiskey business.
Yes. Never a bad thing. Cake is never a bad thing.
Cake is awesome. Okay.
All right. So
the second one I'm really excited about, actually.
Yes.
I think this is an underrated distillery at most times.
I agree. So the second one we're going to be tasting is Cask 85.63 Powerful Personality. This is a 13-year Speyside in our juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile at 58.5% ABV, and this is in a refill ex-bourbon hogshead. Ooh, there we go.
Oh my god.
This flavor profile I have just been really enjoying as of late. Whoa.
Kudos to Southern California Whiskey Club, by the way. I'm using their glass.
Oh, there you go. This nose is not what I was expecting at all.
Not mine either. I was waiting something like a little bit more tropical fruit forward and maybe a little bit waxy, but this is like just on the other side. It's like a lot of citrus.
I'm getting
then some apples.
This reminds me of a fair. It's like marshmallowy. It's got a sweetness, like you said, that green apple sweetness. Mm-hmm. But then there's like a candy floss type of.
I think I feel a little bit like dates. Not the dry, but you have the yellow dates.
This nose is pretty wild. I'm really enjoying.
It's something that I wasn't expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. I was not expecting this.
And it also reminded me of some cleaning agents that we used to clean the house. It's like a lot of spring flowers with lime zest.
That is so interesting. Yeah, I wish I could have this smell in like a candle and then light this in my house. It smells just beautiful.
Okay, the palate is the usual distillery profile I know. So it's formed. Oh, that's something weird, different. So it's like fruit forward. At the very center you have the fruity notes. At the very end you have the gingery notes. And when you go a little bit back, you feel like some kind of licorice note, maybe a little bit like bitter.
Are you getting like a charred element at all?
Uh-huh.
Like there's a little charriness to this. Ooh, this is so interesting.
The palate in this one is really interesting. It's really rich, wild. You can feel some I don't know if you're familiar with black tea that much.
Yeah. I'm a huge tea drinker. Yeah.
Yeah, you feel like tea tannins at the back.
Maybe that's
Turkish people will understand me because we do it every day. And there's this tannic flavor that's left at the very back of your palate. It just reminds me of that. But this is weird. I like it.
Yeah, this has totally caught me off guard. And I don't think nose and palate really match on this. I think that nose, I was getting a lot of that candy floss and like marshmallowy kind of gooiness. There's like a Laffy Taffy kind of quality to it, but then the palate tastes like very mature and like savory almost. And then I'm getting like a little some like charred woody element to this that just comes in at the back, and this is so
It's like there's
fun.
a certain amount of spice, but it's not that much. Like you can feel some cinnamons, it's coming there, but at the very end, like it feels like you bit a cinnamon bark, and that bitterness is staying there with black tea. There's ginger dryness at the very end. Oh, it's interesting because it starts as the usual whiskey that I know from this distillery, number 30, number 85. But it just dissolves into something bigger. It just
Big
dissolves
time.
into, yeah. It just starts like mellow, fruity, zesty. Then it opens up at the very end with spices and those bitter elements I said. Like, this is weird in a really good way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the first one we had is like a good one to wet your palate, to kind of, you know, like start off your tasting or whatever it is. And then like this is one of those whiskeys that I think you could sit and talk about for a long time. I think you could really dig a lot out of this whiskey, and this is a great conversation piece.
So the ABV was 58.5, right?
58.5. But I find it to be, I don't know, it's I definitely think the juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile is where this should be. I think it's very round on the palate and very juicy on the palate. But the flavor profile is just so interesting. I might have
It's
to
seriously juicy. But you know, it's just when it comes to the end, it just cuts really quick.
Yeah, but then that makes you like want to go back and like
Yeah.
take another sip of it.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, I guess I should add some water to it. Yeah, that
Like
is.
on the nose, it just becomes more vanilla. You feel more vanilla. A bit more like. Actually, the apple is lost a little bit. I feel more like a bit more apricot.
Yeah, the water definitely does change this. And I actually agree with you on the apricot. I think the nose is almost jam-like an apricot jam.
And maybe like roasted almonds. This is a good one.
This is so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting like a woody char on this whiskey. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my palate. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich earlier. It could be that. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely getting, I don't know.
There is a comment, and I actually want to talk about that. I always felt that was a waste of water. No. I didn't understand. It's like adding water is waste, or
to add water?
Yeah, I don't know. I understood it like that, but maybe it's different.
Yeah, you know, I think it's all personal preference.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, you know,
our job is to see through every aspect of the whiskey, and I generally try. But I prefer mine neat most of the time, and I know which whiskey to add water.
I'm learning the more that I taste through a lot of these different casks, because I was like I never really added water just because I don't know, it's just my personal preference. But I've noticed that adding water to some of these whiskeys have really changed the experience for me, and in a great way. So I think it's just all personal preference. The only thing I would recommend is start with 1 drop, because you can always add water you can't take away, and build up from there. And that's the beautiful thing about a cask strength whiskey in a single cask, is that you can really tailor it to your liking, you know? Like you're getting it in its rawest form, and then you can tailor it.
Sometimes it's just not gonna work. But
yeah, of course not.
Like not everything has to work. Not every barrel, not every cask works for any whiskey like out there. It's just sometimes they don't work, and that's why they blend it.
Yeah, you know, that is
yeah.
Again, it's all personal, you know, and that's the beautiful thing I think about whiskey, is that it's something different and special and individual to each of us. So I say add water if you want.
I took my time on it, and it's like a bit more coming to cheesecake flavors, like a little sweeter, maybe a lemon cheesecake. But it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, this
Like,
one
I
is.
would love to spend some time on this whiskey, honestly.
I agree. I will be revisiting this for sure. I think that this is pretty special.
Can I put it this way? Like, that's not for everyone, but there are seriously some people who will love that.
Oh yeah, I think that is one of those whiskeys that you can really sit with and take your time and really dig into, and I think that's a fun one. All right, so that was Cask. Yeah, that was 85.63, powerful personality, 13-year space side at 58.5% ABV. So
I think name makes sense. Powerful personality, like it's totally.
Yeah.
So strong is like masculine, especially in the palate.
Definitely has a powerful personality. So
And like it just shouts
Spot
out
on.
that this is my character, this is what I am. Please accept me as I am.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let me get a fresh glass here. We're cruising through these.
So 35. Oh, 35.
35. I'm a massive 35 fangirl.
So 35 is a little bit misunderstood distillery, if you ask me, because there are a lot of independent bottlers out there, and some of them are bottled, to my understanding, pretty early or coming from the barrels, maybe which are not ready. We especially in the US, we sell a lot of bottles, but I think they are also rebranding currently. So they have really good products, but from some independent bottlers, I didn't find a lot of appealing products for me. With SMWS, I think I tried like around 3 or 4, if I'm not wrong, and everything was pretty special.
Yeah, I've really come to appreciate this distillery so much. I think, at least in the past, kind of time I've been back with the society, the 35s that we've had have just really kind of blown me away. And I'm just a big fan of them because, especially for this particular whiskey that we're about to taste, because, it's in second fill ex-bourbon, whereas they're kind of known for these, a really big portfolio of cask finished whiskeys. And I think it's just really special to have something like 35.263. It is called A Date with a Tart. It is a 12-year space side, second fill ex-bourbon barrel at 58.8% ABV. And this is in our sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile.
And this is actually like one of the ages they are known for.
Yeah.
With their OGs.
Ooh. I just love a good 35.
It's just there's nothing bad about it. Like
no.
It's just a wonderful whiskey.
Like you have those whiskeys that at the end of the day, like you don't want to think too much. You just want a dram that is like reliable and you love, and it's going to be good every time you have it, every time you sit down and drink that whiskey. That's kind of what I've come to find out about these 35s is that, it could be any day of the week. And if I reach for one of these, I'm going to be a happy camper.
So lately I tried a lot of them at London Whiskey Show in 2018. I actually went over and tasted their old bottlings there, I guess. Like their cask finishes, they shine sometimes. But, everybody can have their own opinion on the cask finishes. I have my favorites. People have their favorites. With the IBs, especially when the ABV is higher, I tend to like them more. With the lower ABVs, it feels to me it's a little bit like dull. Though when it rises up, especially at this level, like 55 to 60, it becomes so characterful. And this is everything.
I think that these definitely shine at cask strength for sure. And it's quite
you
quite
can actually feel it. Well, let me give it a feel.
I'm getting
it's
some.
Almost here at the very end of the it's hung there.
I'm getting on the nose on this, I find like a soft, like cherry soda almost.
Just gives me that crispness I always get from a highball, a good highball.
Oh, there you go.
But I also feel a little, not rotten, but a little bit out of date fruits.
Yeah, like overripe fruit.
Yeah,
or
overripe fruit, and maybe a little bit like overripe peach or nectarine.
And there is a round kind of waxiness on the nose. You kind of have to dig for it, but there's definitely a little waxiness on the nose to this.
Ooh. The palate has a lot of berries here.
All right, well, cheers.
You'll like that. So this is like your fruit cake when you start the palate. It's just lovely. So nose is warm, like okay. You have those warm whiskeys. When you smell that, it feels like you're in a sauna. You're having all the impact of a sandalwood. This feels like this. It's like you're in an orchard and it's warm and you feel all those esters coming to your nose. And when you just have your first sip, it's like, oh, berryland. They're blackberries.
Yeah, this is a very comforting kind of whiskey. I'm definitely getting that berry profile. It's very soft.
Oh yeah.
But oh my gosh, like that's like this is a cozy whiskey to me. This is like you can feel it, and this is at 58.8, and I think that it's not the highest ABV that we've had so far, but this is like the most warm whiskey we've had. At least
is like a 5 p.m. whiskey for me, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Sit by the window, just think about what you've done this day, and this is like that thoughtful moment whiskey. It's rich. It still has that peppers. It's not that soft. It's not that It doesn't give you that fruit forward and vanilla, but it also has some peppers, and that leaves a lot of trace at the very front of the tongue. So.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think it definitely encompasses your whole palate, and you feel it like in your gums.
Yeah. Like all of the whiskeys that we tried today, actually, especially number 2 and number 3, they have that character.
Yeah.
They have one specific character that doesn't let you off trying to understand the whiskey. With the powerful personality, we had that bitterness. With this one, we have all those fruity character with some spices.
I'm gonna say I added one. I have a dropper, and I added 1 drop of water in this. I don't have very much in my glass, but I have to say that the nose with a little drop of water really opens it up. Like I feel like I'm getting a more fragrant version of it. It neat.
The palate just become better.
See? Sometimes you gotta add water. You gotta at least try it.
The nose became sweeter for me. It's like more vanilla frosting. But the palate just became so lovely right now.
I agree.
It doesn't have any sharp ends. It's just
not at all.
It's just so it moves like a whole. It doesn't behave like, oh, there's one spiciness here, or there's like sweetness in it. It moves like a whole and gives you all that enjoyment.
Yeah, I think that I actually prefer this with a little drop of water.
Oh, this is so good.
And I think that cherry, there's still that like tart cherry note that I'm getting. Like those, I guess it's in that kind of same berry profile. Yeah. There's like a tart cherry note on the very end of this.
But it started as like a blackberry for me. Now it's moving to cherry. Maybe a bit lighter and not that dark color. Dark flavor. It's a bit light in the flavor.
Yeah.
You feel that more, red fruit feeling more than black fruit.
Yeah, this is just a really lovely whiskey. But I'm going to read the tasting notes on this. So it says, strolling through aromatic flower gardens, we discovered notes of dried dates, dark chocolate, and ginger with nuances of black currant tart. So there you go.
I also feel like there's a lot of like good woody feeling on the nose. And with wood, I don't mean the oak itself, but since it's warm, I'm kind of stuck with sandalwood.
Yeah, kind of like when you're in a distillery and you get that and you're around all the cask, you get that aroma of wood.
Oh, this is so good. This is so good.
So that's 35.263, a date with a tart. That is a 12-year Speyside, and our sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile at 58.8% ABV. Yeah, that's a winner.
Okay. Now we have something that's a little bit different.
All right. I feel like this is like speed. We're like speed tasting right now. This is like.
Yeah, we can just do another two if you want.
Round two.
I have all the time in the world for you. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So the last. I just want to talk about this number a little bit. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, go for it.
It just, I don't know if you have the same feeling. It just started to be a little bit hyped over the last years with the less number of bottlings around. But it has always been a special whiskey for me. I didn't taste like dozens of it, but whatever I tasted was really solid. So this is why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, the first time I ever tasted anything from this distillery was actually in Scotland. When I was in Scotland, and one of the brilliant bartenders that we were like doing a tour with ordered one, and I was still very new into whiskey, and that was the first time I ever tasted anything from this distillery, and I remember that moment so vividly. So I too am always very excited to see this number come through. It's not one that we see often.
No, and that's nice. Not everything we have to see often.
Yeah, so it's always a treat to have one of these come through. Actually, I reviewed one of these 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. We had one that called A Rye Smile that I just was really into, and I think it's just a beautiful whiskey. So I've never had one in this particular flavor profile. So this next one is 41.134. It is called Horn of Plenty. It is an 11-year Speyside in a refill ex-bourbon hogshead at 56.6% ABV. And this is in our spicy and sweet flavor profile.
All right. I'm looking forward to see what you think about this. This isn't like anything we tasted today.
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
So this flavor is something that people either like or don't like most of the time. And opens up really quick, actually.
It's so crazy that like the aromas that you can get in a whiskey, just that combination of distillate and cask, it's really amazing, the variety of aromas and flavors that even something like, a refill ex-bourbon hogshead can create. I mean, it's crazy.
It's just sometimes I found whiskey is only the, game of balance. That's the flavors are the balances that you get, like should be balanced, that you get from stills, the maturation, the climate, the warehouse, and everything plays a part in it. And when they're really well balanced, it's a great whiskey for me.
I'm getting like rum cake.
Let's put it this way. The first note I got, and I didn't tell you because I was actually waiting for you, it felt soapy at the very first note. It felt a little bit like lavender-like soapy, but it opens up.
Like Yardley.
Yeah. I still have some barnyard quality. Definitely some malty notes. And
yeah, I got like, it almost smelled like a finished whiskey to me, like some type of like rum cask, or like that was just the first initial whiff I got when I smelled this.
I would mostly say rum cask is a good idea because you feel that burnt sugar. Or the Demerara.
There you go, burnt sugar.
Style.
Oh, that is.
Ooh.
All right, well.
Okay, I have to tell you about this experience. So, let's see if you feel the same. When you have the sip, it just dissolves, and we are actually right on Demerara sugar, the brown sugar. But then it swirls to the back of your mouth, and when you sip it down through your throat, it just creates that wonderful feeling when you get from a well-aged cognac or brandy.
Yes. That is a great way to describe this. This does not, like this taste, I don't know how, that's a great way to describe it. I mean, it really does taste like something that has been in a very different cask than a refill ex-bourbon hogshead.
So 11 years, ex-bourbon hogshead, refilled ex-bourbon hogshead.
Yeah.
Wow. It feels way older. It feels way older. Like, not way older, let's put that. It feels that it got a lot of extraction from oak.
Big time. Yeah, this is not what I was expecting either.
This distillery is known for their rich whiskeys, but okay, the palate, it's waxy, it's jammy. I can tell you this. It gets this beautiful, oh yeah, amaretto. That Italian liquor. I don't know if you're a fan of that. That makes beautiful sour cocktails, by the way.
Yeah.
So like that gives you a little bit that bitter feeling of amaretto, but it's mostly sweet. So that's what I felt on the first at the first moment in my palate. Then it turned to be like a brandy wise, more like a cognac, let's say. It get that element. That's impressive.
This would be good in coffee.
Maybe.
Yeah, this would be
Scottish coffee.
Yeah, Scottish coffee. I think we should coin that right here. That this is the perfect whiskey for a Scottish coffee. I think that the notes on this they're rich. I'm still getting like that very warm, like rum cake, raisin, like little bit of spice.
I actually feel this a lot with Glen Scotia. When I sip it out, it definitely feels more, darker to me than I expect.
Yeah, that's it.
Whenever I have a Glen Scotia, it's like I feel this feeling, and this is the same one with it. So 41 generally doesn't feel like this. This is like a different style.
Yeah, the last one that we had did not give me this.
So it should be spicy sweet, but it's mostly on the sweeter side, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think the spice on this is very soft.
Yeah, I think it's more getting you to the side of, rather than spice like nutmegs or cinnamon, you feel a little bit more earthy profile like tobacco or leather. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like still there is a barnyard feeling, which I totally love in a whiskey. But this was something I didn't expect, honestly.
Yeah, this one definitely, I was not expecting this at all. And I'm going to read the tasting notes on it. This says, a lot of good stuff from the aromas of baked apple pie and Jamaican ginger cake to notes of chocolate-dipped candied orange slices.
There's a wonderful conversation going on YouTube about our hairstyles.
Oh.
I just need to add some color. I get it. I'll work on that. Like, pandemic is going on. I can do whatever.
There you go. And George said coffee and baked Alaska. There we go. We can have a Scottish coffee and baked Alaska later, and that will be a brilliant combination.
I'm serious to doing baked Alaska after this.
I know. I have to try it. I like how these conversations always end on food.
You go.
So yeah, I just love that these conversations always end up talking about food. I think that whiskey really has that ability to I think that's one of the first things that we kind of relate whiskey to when we're tasting or smelling a whiskey for the first time is, oh, this reminds me of like this food or this moment. And
it's all about that though. Like whenever I have one of my, whiskey classes, I end up with saying that, everything you feel in your palate, on your nose, it's all about your brain going back and checking your memory if you remember that moment or that smell. Like, because, the first moment you smell a lemon, you actually lock it up in your brain saying that, okay, this is lemon, this smell is lemon smell, and I just lock it up because there's citric acid, so it's locked down there. Same with vanillic acid when you feel vanilla, or like when you feel apples, like we did in the second whiskey. It's all about malic acid we are talking about. But also, memories are so important because there will be moments that you will remember. So I remember that Glen Scotia over there. Sorry about it. Pretty good because barbecue and fishnets, I tried it the first day on a terrace in Auckland. It was a wonderful scene. I smelled it and I locked that smell in my brain with that scene. So that's all about memories. Nothing has changed.
Absolutely.
Or my first whiskey was like my first proper whiskey pour was a Johnny Walker 15-year-old with my father that we tried. And whenever I see that bottle of Johnny Walker 15-year-old, it's just that reminds me of that moment. So whiskey is all about memories. Let it be either the smell or the memories that you will remember the bottle. It's all about that.
Absolutely. I was just talking about that with my husband last night. It reminds me of that moment in the movie Ratatouille where the food critic like takes a bite of the ratatouille and then like he instantly goes back to being a kid, like at the table, like eating soup, or that moment. I always think of that moment when I have whiskeys that do that, because you do have certain whiskeys that instantly take you, to some part of your past or a certain moment. And that is one of my favorite things about the Spirit, is that it has the ability to do that. And I think it's so special.
Guys, this is just getting better. have another sip, seriously. The palate just keeps getting better.
We do have one more.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I love it. I saw a question. I want to answer that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Do you think cigars can ruin a whiskey palate? I worry that I'm missing some flavors when smoking a cigar. At the same time, enjoy a dram, maybe best drink to... Yeah. Okay. One thing, I love cigars myself. I have a huge humidor. I try to smoke cigars whenever I find it meaningful, because I do taste a lot of times in the day. And the thing is, yes, smoking cigars and tasting whiskey at the same time will take off a lot of flavors from your palate. You will not feel it because cigar is so strong. Cigar flavors will also stick in your mouth and will not let you feel a lot of flavor. So my idea is you'll find these cigars that will accompany your whiskey, but if you're going to taste whiskey and cigar at the same day, do the whiskey tasting first, then drink your whiskey with the cigar. It will be the most convenient way, if you ask me.
Or if you're tasting a whiskey for the first time, you want to smoke the cigar, just taste the whiskey first so you at least have an idea, and then you can finish your dram with your cigar.
All right. This is the last one, right?
All right. We saved the oldest for last. So this next one...
Oldest and the darkest.
Yes, in this beautiful gold,
Oh, yeah.
packaging. It's always exciting when you see these deep, rich, and dried fruits. I just think the bottles are so beautiful with that gold monogram. I think it's just very pretty. So the last one we are going to be tasting is Cask 46.97 in the shadow of a Coco Eclipse. It is a 27-year Speyside that spent 26 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead, and then for the final year went into a first fill ex-Pedro Jimenez hogshead. And this is at 55.1% ABV.
Perfect explanation. The nose is quite savory.
Ooh.
A lot of nutmeg, cinnamon.
Nutmeg and cinnamon for sure. There's a nutty quality to this.
There's a nuttiness coming on. It's like, the savory profile that you get from a very good Italian wine,
Yeah, I could see that.
like a Tuscany wine. A lot of berries again.
But there's like it has texture on the nose. It's very like, it smells like oily on the nose.
I think this needs a little bit of time.
We can give it a few minutes to.
Pedro Jimenez is a different barrel type than usual. It's tough to crack in. It's really hard to find a good one. There are some really good distilleries which are doing a fabulous job in acquiring some barrels in the market. But it gives you most of the time that walnutty flavors with chocolate, which I adore.
Yeah, I do love that walnut profile, or like that praline pecan type of profile in a whiskey.
By the way, sometimes when you don't have a lot of flavors on the nose, have a sip, and you will have a lot of suggestions on there.
That's true.
Okay, it's a lot of savory profile goes on. I think that oily quality you were talking about, I think it's there, but the palate is heavenly.
Wow. Wow.
So it's okay. When we talk about Pedro Jimenez, most of the time we are talking about tannins. It might be with 1 year is not a lot, but more than 1 year can end up with tannic quality. So this is a balanced quality. You can actually say that it's bourbon plus sherry maturation with like light tasting.
The mouthfeel on this whiskey is so viscous. It coats. I feel like I can watch it visually like coat my entire palate. It just sticks to every. Yeah, it's like a wave.
It feels like a standard deviation graphing mount.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can see it.
And that walnutty profile happened. Okay, that appeared really at the very end, with some actually saltiness. I can call it saltiness, I guess.
Like a salted, candied,
salted caramel.
Walnut.
Yeah, I can feel it. Like this is. The palate is like full of flavors, and you should spend some time understanding what's happening out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the nose is opening pretty quick, which is nice. But it's still dark. It's still like you feel that when you go into a pine forest after rain.
Oh. Yeah, this is one of those whiskeys that I think definitely like sets a scene.
Yeah. Guys, by the way, like this is that whiskey you have to taste, and maybe you can let a light cigar accompany this.
There you go. Yeah, I feel like this is like you're in the library, like your mahogany and leather and wood and books and your dark library, and there are candles lit, and it's very moody.
I think on the East Coast is the perfect time for this whiskey. The West Coast still has a few weeks.
We still have a few hours ahead of us.
It's just, it has been ridiculous late.
This is a special one. This is like end of the day, after
How
dinner.
How many bottles are there?
So there are 263 total for the world of this particular one.
I would love to have one.
Yeah, this is absolutely. It's figgy. It's gooey. There's like a balsamic kind of reduction note to this.
By the way, we haven't talked about the distillery. The distillery's profile is actually really fruity. On normal, you don't see a lot of bottles. It's mostly only like specialty whiskey makers, independent bottlers.
But this particular distillery does both short and long fermentation, and then blends them together, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right, and I think there's a big part of long fermentation playing.
Yeah.
Because you feel like those oily qualities, that savory qualities. No, this is really great. Like the Pedro Jimenez doesn't force or overpower anything
No.
in the whiskey. It's just gives all that flavors and adds more onto it. Like adds more earthy quality, walnut and dried fruits. We even didn't say like this has dates or figs or whatever. Like mostly coming from the sherry barrel. We were talking about another layer of earthiness and walnutty profile.
Yeah, and I think that you really do get that fruit forward profile, but then there is a nutty quality to this that I think just really balances out very well. So it's like I think of it like a cheese and like nuts and dried fruit like board, like snack that you eat. So it's
also has that
of all these things.
When you enter to an antique room, like library, full of books, or when you go to the last bookstore in LA, that's the right one, right? They have those sections which is not touched a lot, so you feel that dusty feeling.
Yep.
It also has that.
Mark said, I have a library of leather-bound books made of rich mahogany.
Perfect.
Isn't that Ron Burgundy? Ron Burgundy whiskey.
A little pricey for a retired old man like me. Yeah. Unfortunately, these are the days we are living in. A little pricey days. But like 27 years old whiskey at this ABV, this price is quite normal if you ask me.
And Michael asked if there are any Islas tomorrow. No, there are no Islas being released tomorrow. But stay tuned for our next outturn in November, and we should have you covered there.
And Johnny says, Vols 1, leads no, send whiskey, preferably $46.97. Whiskey and donuts.
Hello, Johnny. Yeah, well, this was a great whiskey to end on.
This was the perfect whiskey to end on.
Yeah.
Like, I can totally tell you that number 2 stood in my mind, 8563, because it has a weird and lovely character. If I was to go in, like, for a daily drink, if I was to go and choose one, I would definitely go with 35.
Yeah, I think that is just a classic. That's one of those whiskeys that you can just go for any day of the week, and you will be
35. 35 is like something you cannot go wrong with. If you're challenging yourself, if you're a little bit on the nerdy side like me, I would go with 8563.
The 85, yeah. That was, I think, the most surprising of the bunch.
That was surprising.
It's big time.
Yeah, and I have to go with.
We kind of took a journey.
Yeah, it's like a nice journey, and we didn't change the geography. Drastically, we stood on almost in the same region, which is amazing.
Just one Highland. Yeah, we started with the Highland and then spent the rest of our time in Speyside. So
yeah, it's like Highland and Speyside. They can also easily be mixed. Speyside also is derived from Highland over time. But I would say that like we saw 5 different whiskeys in a great different styles, and like aside from the last one, we stayed with the bourbon barrels.
Yeah, we did, and they're also just wildly different.
So this also shows us the impact of age and maturation in Scotland. That can end up with variety of whiskey styles, which we actually love. Yeah, like when we come to bourbon, I don't feel that much. That's why.
Right, but Scotch it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, with Scotch it's a little bit different. Not just Scotch actually, it's single malt.
Single malt, yeah.
Yeah, because there are like beautifully made whiskeys in Asia. Taiwan, India, Japan, through Japan, say that. And the maturation profile is totally different. Now they're doing a lot of different things in Nordic countries, like Sweden and Denmark.
Yeah.
Or European countries like France, Spain, even Spain. Like they're coming big time and changing the whiskey game. Or I don't know if you have tasted the Israeli whiskey. Like they are also doing a good job. So world can make different whiskeys in different qualities, and we just need to give a chance. And then I think so. With Scotch Malt Whisky Society, I have to say that the main reason I love being a member is trying different whiskeys in an unbiased way.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not limited to the bottle. I'm not limited to the label. I know that the bottle is about the standard level because people that are choosing the whiskeys, the casks, they're amazing. So I will try something solid, but then there will be a whiskey waiting for me that can be miracle, like the barbecue fishnets, or one of the SMWS whiskeys that I love a lot was Heidi's Travel to Isla, Heidi's Holiday in Isla. Like that was a wonderful whiskey. Then these bottles give you those memories because I tried the Heidi's Travel to Isla in Holland at a bar called LMB Whiskey Bar in Amsterdam.
I love that place.
That's super. So these whiskeys gave me memories. So that's why I love being a part of Scotch Malt Whisky Society. We also have the latest bottlings of the US choices. We couldn't crack them yet. Hopefully we'll do it soon. Hopefully this month. When we receive the latest bottles, so we will crack 3 different bottles and review them and let you know, guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So yeah, and I will kind of cap off with that, I've had some amazing whiskeys from the society, from really all regions, at all ages. I've had some of these younger whiskeys that have absolutely blown me away. And I think, it just comes to down to, you have to try it. You can't say, I won't drink a whiskey that's under 10 years, because I've had some whiskeys that are under 10 years that have blown me away. And, there's actually so much out there.
Paul John has a whiskey with the society, which is being sold right now, if I'm not wrong, which is the first second filled single cask. 5 years old and will blow you away. That's an incredible barrel.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think it's the 134.5, if I'm not wrong. So,
yeah, I believe we do still have some of those up on the website. And that's a peated malt, right?
Yes, but most importantly, it's like the second fill, because being a young distillery will give you a chance to rotate your barrel once in like long years. For us, it's like 8 years. So we started to do the second fills. And you will start to see the second fills slowly, but SMWS has been the first one to take it and has been the first to bring it to the United States. So it's a beautiful single cask.
Well, there you go. It's extra special. So if you want to have any, if you want to take a look at that, or if you have any more information, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to fill you in on that. I think we had one last request of, can we end this with a sax solo and a Boston Terrier dance? Well, the Boston Terrier, she has been vacated from the office. So work from home office dog is, out of here. So she doesn't, snore too loud while I'm doing this. But do you have your saxophone on handy? Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit distant right now, but I will play to you, Johnny, privately when we meet next time. If we can meet again.
Over some donuts, I'm sure.
Or next time I'll be prepared and have the saxophone here.
And I'll have the dog ready, so we can fulfill that. So, well, again, thank you so much, Koray, for joining us. And this
Thank you for having me.
With these 5 go live tomorrow on our website at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at jenna@smwsa.com. And Koray, can you tell people where to find you?
At Whiskey Monster, whiskey without the E for my US followers. Or you can just reach me at info@whiskeymonster.com, or any place from Whiskey Monster. I will see your message somehow. Don't worry about it.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll give you a quick toast. Yeah, Sanja. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much for having me.